Greetings. I just recently finished up that 165-page report about the Wargaming, a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, 24 different scenarios involving the United States, Japan, Philippines, China, Taiwan, and everything in between. It is very pessimistic. Incredibly pessimistic. We're going to get into it. Be sure that you like, subscribe, and let's get into this. It led me down a path. First off, the report itself. There is no, out of 24 scenarios, there are no situations where the United States claims victory. The victory, to declare victory, was to completely repel a Chinese invasion. There were no Chinese enclaves on Taiwan and no strikes on the Chinese mainland, because in the Wargame, strikes on the Chinese mainland could encourage a nuclear attack on the U.S. mainland. It was... Again, I'm going to link the entire 165-page report. But it led me down a rabbit hole because the one thing that you learn in this is how reliant China is and how reliant we will inevitably become on missiles. It's like I've been saying with the numerous other videos on this channel, that war has changed. War is very different than what it was. We are now talking thousands of miles, button pushing, a 9-to-5 report job for somebody thousands of miles away who pushes a button, sinks a ship, kills hundreds of people, and later that day he's having dinner with his family. Incredible. One of the places it did lead me down is the missile expansion and strategic modernization of the Chinese missile and rocket force. As you can see here, this report is from the 27th of December of this year, of 2024. I'm sorry, it's 2025. Happy New Year. 50 new intercontinental ballistic missiles capable of striking the continental United States for a cumulative total of 400. 300 medium-range ballistic missiles, and 100 long-range cruise missiles. More than 600 operational nuclear warheads, projected to surpass 1,000 operational nuclear warheads by 2030. Hypersonic missiles like the DF-27, capable of evading U.S. missile defense systems and targeting Guam, Hawaii, and Alaska. And I did a previous video about the defense systems on Guam. If it can go past those defense systems, then there isn't anything right now that can stop it. China's Navy, already the largest in the world with 370 ships and submarines, is expected to grow to 435 by 2030. And in the same report, as in a previous video I did on this channel, the United States Navy at the same time in 2030 will have a fleet of 300, give or take. Clearly, we are going to be fighting from the down foot. Another great report I got was from the U.S. Army Press. Again, everything I'm going to cite here is going to be linked. It goes through their missile and rocket forces by brigade. Let's pop that up for you. Goes through it by brigade, and whether they're nuclear or conventional, and the missile types they're using. One of the things that is started to concern me, not so much the overwhelming use of missiles, because we do have the ability to defend against missiles. Again, this will be linked. We do have the ability to defend against missiles, but what we've seen recently is that missiles themselves are changing. The delivery packages they're bringing are different. China has improved accuracy of its missile force, U.S. Army finds. This is from the Straits Times. And this talks about how their accuracy of target point is now only 30 meters. 30 meters. And when you're talking about a ballistic missile impacting at thousands of miles an hour with a warhead, this is devastating. This is absolutely devastating. And this is the primary missile system that would be used against Taiwan itself. The DF-11 and now the more modernized DF-15 and the DF-16. And there would be literally thousands of these raining down on Taiwan. Thousands of those raining down on Taiwan. And now things have gotten a lot more precarious because the Russians have introduced Oreshnick. And with Oreshnick, what we're talking about now is no longer just a single or a couple of submunitions with small warheads. We're using the ballistic trajectory and speed to create multiple non-nuclear reentry vehicles capable of immense destructive force. And it would be naive of us to think that the Chinese are not in some way getting this technology from the Russians, that the Russians aren't selling it to the Chinese. It's not like everything in Russia isn't for bloody sale. So we have to assume that that technology, the Oreshnick technology, the use of multiple independent reentry vehicles that then use multiple independent submunition packages, is going to be something we have to face as the United States. The United States Navy, in particular, the United States Air Force and Navy need to be paying very close attention to this. So one of the things I've been saying is that we need to think out of the box. We can't be thinking linearly. We can't be thinking, how many missiles can we pack on a destroyer? How many phalanx can we pack on this? How many laser systems can we pack on another ship? Because there will be no time. There will be no time. The horizon is a thing. And with some of these gliding hypersonics, you will not have the time. With the Oreshnick, you won't have the quantity or the power. So you have to think outside the box. So this subject has just kind of been floating in my mind for a little while. And yesterday, I came across this article. Well, not yesterday. It was a few days ago. Milei unveils ambitious plan to position Argentina as global energy player. And when you scroll down, by the way, side note, the AI generative English translation from Spanish is amazing. It's amazing. Guys, we're about to be fooled by AI on a level that you couldn't possibly imagine. The translation, all these men are speaking Spanish. And when I hit the translation into English using AI, it's amazing. Point being, Argentina is going to invest heavily into small reactors, individual reactors. These reactors are not the size of a building. These are measured in meters, in feet. It's an amazing technology. The United States has just recently SMRs, small modular reactors. I wanted to get the name right. That's what I was searching for. Small modular reactors. These reactors are not the size of a power plant. They're not even the size of a building. They're the size of a room. And they can put out incredible amounts of power for their size. This is a power module. Incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So, obviously small portable nuclear reactors have been a thing since the 1940s, 1950s on submarines. So in thinking out of the box, because the horizon is a thing, your only real solution becomes high energy lasers, high energy weapons. But you can't mount enough of those on a ship when you have to deal with the horizon. So you have to make the horizon bigger. How would you do that? Airships. Airships. You have large airships that themselves carry SMRs. And inside those SMRs, they're powered up big time. And on top of these, you have high output laser systems. I'm not saying would work or even that it's a great idea, but it's thinking outside the box, because you need to think of the defense for something along the lines of this. You can't start thinking about one or two missiles anymore. You have to start thinking about missiles, and missiles with sub-packages, sub-munitions. And those sub-munitions are coming in at Mach 5 to Mach 10. That in itself can put a hole straight through a warship, straight through, top to bottom, not including a warhead. That's just the kinetic force of a tungsten rod going straight through. Might not even slow down. But I want to bring up another graphic here. This is going to give you an idea of this is just the visual range of what one of these are. And what I'm showing you is from a 2005 report about the use of dirigibles and blimps for reconnaissance and communication in Afghanistan and Iraq. This is just the visual range. This is the line of sight radius of this blimp, right in the middle. You take a bunch of those. You would obviously design them to carry SMRs and the high output laser systems that you would need. And they have to be high output, because in order to stop this at the speed they're coming in, these are 6 packages of 6. So you need 36 shots. You need 36 shots. So you've got to have the power to produce those shots, including the percentage of missed shots. So you have something like that floating above strategic positions in the United States, around the world, likely missile flight paths, certainly over aircraft carrier battle groups. And you use that as a defense. And the reason why you have to defend that, you must defend that. I'm going to bring up an image here. This is from the Wargame itself. The picture below shows U.S., Taiwanese, and Japanese losses, over 900 from one game iteration, game number 13. A pessimistic and intense encounter that ended in stalemate. The losses represent about 40% of U.S. Air Force's fighter attack operational inventory. That would degrade U.S. power for decades. I also want to point out what you see here is SAG 4, SAG 2, SAG 2, SAG 5, SSN, SSN, and right here, CSG1. Carrier Strike Group 1. Surface Action Group 2, 4. Littoral Combat Group 1. Amphibious Group 1 and 2 and 3. Multiple submarines. 40% of your air power. This is in under a month. The representation of treasure, money, and prestige that goes down there is changing everything forever. Forever. That's the kind of thing, and that's not a win. That's not a loss. That's a stalemate. Which means that's not the worst case scenario. Which also means it's not the best case scenario. But think of that. And that does not talk about the loss of, as you can see right there, CSG, Carrier Strike Group. An aircraft carrier is $13 billion all by itself, alone. That's without its aircraft. That's without any of the men and women aboard. What we're looking at here is a change. We need to think outside the box. This entire thing is basically me advocating for high altitude, nuclear powered, laser equipped blimps and dirigibles to be thought about as a legitimate defense mechanism for U.S. facilities, for the United States itself, and our carrier battle groups. We have to think out of the box. Just due to the simple horizon, naval vessels will not have time to engage most of these targets that are coming at them with any reasonable expectation of defeating them. You have to raise the horizon. There's only one way to do it. The way to do it is and they have to stay aloft for days. They can't go away. You have to have the ability to shoot down multiple targets, and that ability has to remain on station for days, weeks. I don't see that you have a choice. So here in the 21st century, I'm advocating that we, the United States, start using balloons with nuclear reactors inside of them with laser guns attached. Not sharks with lasers attached to their heads, although it sounds almost as reasonable. But if you think about it, there's some sanity in that insanity. I'm either on to something or I'm on something. Either one could be true. But I've been meaning to say this because this has been bouncing around in my melon, which, as you can see, is now nicely coiffed. And I just wanted to get it out there because we got to think outside the box. On the ground, we need FPV drone corps. We need FPV drone groups. We need FPV drone competitions in the U.S. Army. We need FPV drone pilots. We need FPV drones. High above at 65,000 feet, we need big balloons, big old fat balloons with big old lasers on them with big old nuclear reactors in them. But for now, that's all I got. Thank you very much.